Welcome to The Explainer. Now, what if I told you the real secrets to building wealth weren't hidden away in some complex stock market algorithm, but in simple stories from a city that was thriving 6,000 years ago? Well, today, we're diving into a classic book from the 1920s that claims exactly that.
Okay, so let's get right into it. The book's core idea is, well, it's a bold one. It says, the rules of money are as fixed and unchanging as the law of gravity, that they worked in ancient Babylon, and you better believe they're supposed to work for us right now, today.
So, what are these timeless laws really? Well, to find out, the book takes us on a journey. It reveals them through the story of a man whose financial struggles might just feel a little too familiar.
All right, so our story begins with a guy named Bonsir. He's a master chariot builder living in Babylon, which, by the way, was the wealthiest city in the entire ancient world. And Bonsir, he's skilled, he's a hard worker, but he is flat broke. Yeah, he's pretty much hit a wall. You can just picture him, right? Staring at this unfinished chariot, feeling that deep frustration, this paradox of working so hard, day in and day out, but his pockets are just as empty as his meal bag. He's working, but he's just not getting anywhere. And I mean, look at this contrast. It really captures his dilemma perfectly. On one hand, you've got the incredible, dazzling wealth of Babylon. We're talking golden chariots, grand palaces, the whole shebang. And on the other hand, you have Bonsir's reality, an empty purse. He's living in the richest city on earth, and yet he feels totally left out. But then, something clicks. It's like a light bulb goes off. Bonsir and his buddy Kabi, they realize their big mistake. All this time, they've been chasing work, not wealth. So they decide, okay, that's it. We need to learn the rules of the game from the one guy who has obviously figured it all out, a man named Arkad.
And that brings us to Arkad, the richest man in all of Babylon. So his old friends Bonsir and Kobe, they go to him, and they're just confused. They're like, look, we all started from the same place, so how come fickle fate picked you for all this wealth and not us?
But Arkad, he doesn't pull any punches. He's pretty blunt. He says, guys, it's not fate, it's a system. He tells them straight up, the reason you failed is because you never bothered to learn the laws of building wealth. And the key part, these are laws that anyone can follow.
So Arkad explains that, hey, he wasn't always rich. His whole journey started when he was just a poor scribe. And he made this crucial bargain with a wealthy moneylender named Algamish. The deal was this. Arkad would work all night carving a clay tablet, and in exchange, Algamish would share the secret to wealth.
So Arkad did it. He worked all through the night and finished the job. And just as the sun was coming up, Algamish came back and shared the one single powerful secret that would become the absolute foundation of Arkad's entire fortune.
And what was the big secret? You're not going to believe it. It was almost laughably simple. Algamish told him, for every 10 coins you put in your purse, you only take out 9. That's it. That's the secret. Save 1/10 of every single thing you earn. Now for Arkad, this was a massive mindset shift. It just clicked. He realized he was paying the garment maker, the sandal maker, he was paying everybody except himself. The core lesson here is so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. You have to pay yourself first. And you can see the simple path laid out right here. It all started with that bargain for wisdom. That led to the secret. And putting that secret into practice led to real results. For the very first time in his life, Arkad's purse actually started to feel heavy. And with that feeling came this whole new sense of purpose. Okay, but saving that money, that was just step one. Arkad's journey was really just getting started. The next big thing he had to learn was how to put his new treasure to work for him. And, well, this was a lesson he was going to have to learn the hard way. You see, Arkad's first investment was a painful failure, a total disaster. He took his entire first year of savings and gave it to a brickmaker who promised to go buy rare jewels. And Algamish, when he heard about it, just bluntly said, "Why would you trust a brickmaker's knowledge about jewels?" Of course, the gems turned out to be worthless glass, and all of Arkad's money was gone. A costly lesson for sure, but a clear one. Only seek advice from people who actually know what they're talking about. So through all these successes and, yes, some failures, Arkad developed a really clear system. First, it all starts with living on less than you earn. Then you've got to guard that growing treasure. You do that by seeking out good advice and staying away from those risky get-rich-quick schemes. And finally, the most important part, you put that protected money to work and you let it multiply.
He also learned another absolutely vital lesson from Algamish. See, when his early investments finally started to pay off, what did he do? He went out and spent the profits on things like honey and wine and a fancy new tunic. Algamish just laughed and told him he was eating the children of his savings. The real secret, he explained, was to make his treasure his slave, and then have its children and its children's children all work for him too. That's the magic of compounding.
So, let's bring this all back to today. What does all this ancient wisdom actually mean for us, right now? Well, the real power of these stories is that their core lessons, they haven't changed one bit.
Because really, it all comes back to this one single idea. This isn't just a saving tip, It's more like a declaration of self-worth. The book argues that the real, true turning point in your financial life comes when you really deeply internalize this one thought. A part of every single dollar you earn belongs to you and you alone.
And really, that's the ultimate takeaway here. Financial freedom isn't about the stress of timing the market or finding the next big thing. Nope. It's about mastering a few simple, powerful laws of money that are just as reliable today as they were thousands of years ago.
In the end, Arkad's vast fortune all grew from a single, simple decision to save the very first copper coin from his meager earnings as a scribe. The book leaves us with this powerful thought. It's not about a grand gesture. The journey from a lean purse to a full one begins with the very first coin you decide is yours to keep.